The quantum slipstream tore through the fabric of space like a razor-sharp blade, leaving nothing but a momentary shimmer in its wake. Captain Elena Rodriguez gripped the command chair of the UES Defiance, her augmented neural interface flooding her consciousness with a cascade of tactical data. "Tactical systems online," Lieutenant Amir Khan called out, his fingers dancing across holographic displays that seemed to breathe with living information. "Quantum disruption matrix at full capacity. Gravitational stabilizers are green across all sectors." Outside the ship's reinforced viewports, the Orion conflict zone looked like a graveyard of broken dreams. Massive Concordance battleships, each the size of small moons, drifted like wounded leviathans. The Void Collective's assault had been merciless, their weapon systems cutting through shields and armor as if they were made of paper. 12 alien species had united in the Concordance, pooling their most advanced technologies, their most brilliant minds. For generations, they had fought against the Void Collective, a mysterious civilization that seemed to exist beyond the normal rules of warfare. And now, they were losing. Rodriguez knew the statistics. The Concordance had already lost 73% of its forward defense fleet. Another hour, and the entire battle group would be nothing more than expanding debris and frozen remnants. "Confirm external sensor readings," she commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. Commander Sarah Liu, the ship's primary systems analyst, responded with clinical precision. "Confirmed. Void Collective's primary assault formation is utilizing quantum-entangled weapon systems. They're targeting quantum resonance points in the Concordance ship's shield matrices." It was a devastating strategy. The Void Collective didn't just destroy ships, they unraveled them at the molecular level, breaking down complex energy systems with terrifying efficiency. Rodriguez's mind raced. The UES Defiance wasn't just another warship. It was the product of humanity's most radical approach to technological innovation, a vessel designed to break every known rule of space combat. "Prepare quantum communication disruption sequence," she ordered. "Target the primary command ship's communication network." The bridge crew moved with synchronized precision. Humans had been exploring space for mere decades, yet they moved like a single organism, each person anticipating the next move before it was made. Lieutenant Khan's display flickered. "Targeting systems locked. Quantum disruption matrix is calibrated and ready." Rodriguez allowed herself the briefest smile. The Void Collective believed in predictability, in established patterns of engagement. They had never encountered anything like humanity's approach to warfare. "Execute," she said. The UES Defiance seemed to fold in on itself, manipulating gravitational fields in ways that defied traditional physics. It wasn't travel in any conventional sense. It was more like the ship was rewriting the fundamental laws of spacetime. In the next moment, the Void Collective's primary command ship found itself completely isolated. Its weapon systems went dark. Communication networks collapsed. For the first time in the centuries-long conflict, the seemingly invincible enemy was blind and deaf. Aboard the Concordance's remaining ships, sensor displays came alive with an impossible reading. A single vessel, human in origin, had done what generations of advanced alien civilizations could not. The impossible had just become reality. Lieutenant Khan's voice broke the stunned silence. "Primary Void Collective command ship is completely neutralized, Captain. Their entire tactical network is offline." Rodriguez watched the tactical display, her augmented eyes tracking multiple potential scenarios. This was more than a battle. This was a statement. Humanity had just entered the galactic stage, and they were announcing their arrival with a thunderous declaration. "Prepare second phase disruption," she commanded. "Let's show them what human innovation really looks like." The United Nations diplomatic complex in New Geneva stood as a testament to human architectural brilliance, a structure that seemed to defy gravity, its crystalline surfaces reflecting the late afternoon sunlight. Inside, Captain Elena Rodriguez prepared to face the most complex battle of her career, a diplomatic confrontation that would determine humanity's future among the stars. 3 separate delegations waited in carefully designed reception chambers. The Concordance representatives, a trio of beings so different from humans that their mere presence would have terrified earlier generations, sat in the first chamber. Crystalline entities from the Luminara Collective, their bodies shifting like living prisms, communicated through complex light patterns. Beside them, a massive methane-breathing diplomat from the Krell Imperium adjusted his environmental suit, multiple eyes scanning the room with predatory intensity. In the second chamber, the Void Collective's envoys waited. Unlike the Concordance, they were uniformly obsidian black, their forms so uniform they seemed almost artificial. Every movement was calculated, every gesture precise to the point of mechanical perfection. The third chamber remained conspicuously empty, a deliberate choice that spoke volumes about humanity's newfound confidence. Ambassador Dr. Marcus Chen stood beside Rodriguez, his diplomatic credentials as sharp as any weapon. "They're expecting us to be intimidated," he whispered. "We're going to do exactly the opposite." Rodriguez nodded. The UEA's Defiance's tactical report had been carefully curated, a masterpiece of strategic information management. Enough to intrigue, not enough to reveal their full capabilities. The first meeting began with the Concordance delegation. Luminara's primary diplomat, a being of shifting light named Zerelin, initiated communication. "Your intervention was unexpected." The light being projected, their words forming complex geometric patterns in the air. "We require a full accounting of your technological capabilities." Dr. Chen smiled, a gesture that seemed to momentarily confuse the alien diplomats. "Capabilities are best understood through demonstration, not explanation." With a subtle gesture, a holographic display emerged. It wasn't a military presentation, but a series of humanitarian technologies. Water purification systems that could transform toxic environments. Energy generation methods that could resurrect dying planets. Medical nanite technologies that could repair cellular damage across multiple species. The Luminara diplomat's light patterns shifted, a sign of profound surprise. The Krell representative leaned forward, its massive form somehow managing to look both threatening and intrigued. "These technologies could end resource conflicts that have lasted millennia," it rumbled. Rodriguez understood the deeper game. This wasn't just about military might. It was about showing humanity's potential as a problem-solving civilization. The Void Collective's meeting was entirely different. Where the Concordance showed curiosity, the Void representatives demanded information with cold, calculating precision. "Your tactical intervention suggests capabilities beyond your technological era," the lead-in voice stated. Its voice was a precise frequency that seemed to bypass sound and enter directly into the listener's mind. "Capabilities are fluid," Rodriguez responded. "Potential is more important than current manifestation." A holographic display showed human technological development, not as a linear progression, but as an explosive non-linear expansion. Each breakthrough seemed to spawn multiple unexpected innovations. The Void Collective's representative processed this information with visible difficulty. Their entire civilization was built on predictive models and established technological trajectories. Humanity represented a complete anomaly. Behind the scenes, intelligence networks across the galaxy were burning with activity. Intercepted communications, quantum-encrypted data streams, and diplomatic back-channel discussions all pointed to one conclusion. Humanity was no longer an unknown quantity. They were a wild card, unpredictable, innovative, and potentially transformative. As the diplomatic sessions concluded, Rodriguez exchanged a knowing glance with Dr. Chen. They had presented exactly what they wanted the galaxy to see, and hidden everything that truly mattered. The real game was just beginning. The research and development complex in New California sprawled across an entire mountain range, a testament to humanity's explosive technological ambition. Hundreds of research pods dotted the landscape, each a self-contained ecosystem of innovation where the most brilliant minds on Earth worked without constraints. Dr. James Chen stood in the central observation hub, surrounded by holographic displays that danced with complex mathematical equations and quantum probability models. His team had been working on something unprecedented, a technological breakthrough that would redefine the very concept of space exploration. "Adaptive quantum matrix is holding stable," announced Dr. Arya Patel, her fingers dancing across a quantum interface that seemed to breathe with living information. Molecular reconfiguration at 99.7% efficiency. The UES Defiance had become more than a warship. It was a living laboratory, a proof of concept that challenged everything known about technological development. Each system was a puzzle, each component a work of art that defied conventional understanding. Alien scientific delegations have been granted limited access to the facility, a carefully choreographed demonstration of human potential. Representatives from 12 different civilizations watched in various states of confusion and awe. Illuminar, a scientific observer, a being of pure energy and complex mathematical patterns, projected its analysis. "Your technological approach is non-linear," it communicated, its light patterns shifting with barely contained excitement. Chen smiled. Non-linear was precisely the point. The adaptive armor system they were demonstrating could reconfigure itself in microseconds. What looked like a solid metallic surface could become permeable, could redistribute energy, could heal itself faster than any known technology in the galaxy. "Watch closely," Chen announced to the gathered delegates. A pristine armor panel was subjected to a series of extreme tests. Intense heat, quantum disruption, gravitational stress. Each test that would have destroyed conventional materials resulted in the panel simply adjusting. It wasn't just resistant. It was alive in a way technology had never been before. The Krell Imperium's chief scientist, a massive being that resembled a walking geological formation, rumbled with something close to respect. "Your materials do not follow established physical laws. Laws are guidelines," Dr. Petal responded. "Potential is the real frontier." In another section of the complex, quantum computing modules were being demonstrated. These weren't just advanced computers, they were predictive engines that could model battle strategies milliseconds before they happened. The modules could analyze trillion-dimensional probability spaces, finding solutions that no conventional system could even conceptualize. A delegation from the Void Collective watched with growing unease. Their entire civilization was built on predictive models and established technological trajectories. Humanity represented a complete anomaly, a civilization that didn't just push boundaries, but seemed unaware such boundaries existed. Dr. Chen understood the deeper implication. This wasn't just about technological superiority. It was about a fundamentally different approach to innovation. "Most civilizations optimize," he explained to the gathered scientists. "We reimagine." The energy distribution systems they demonstrated could transform entire planetary ecosystems. What previously required centuries of terraforming could now be accomplished in months. Water generation, atmospheric reconstruction, energy harvesting. Each system was a marvel of intuitive design. Rumors began to spread across galactic communication networks. Whispers of a civilization that didn't just develop technology, but seemed to breathe innovation. Dr. Patel noticed something the others didn't. The alien scientists weren't just observing. They were reimagining their own technological paradigms. "We're not just sharing technology," she whispered to Chen. "We're sharing a way of thinking." As the demonstration concluded, the alien delegates left with more questions than answers. The UES Defiance sat in a specially constructed dock, its hull shimmering with potential. It was more than a ship now. It was a symbol of humanity's limitless imagination. The Void Collective's massive dreadnoughts emerged from quantum slipstreams like nightmares given mechanical form. Each vessel stretched kilometers in length, their obsidian hulls absorbing light, creating a darkness that seemed to devour space itself. Captain Alina Rodriguez studied the tactical display aboard the UES Defiance, her augmented neural interface processing information at speeds that would have overwhelmed any biological system. The incoming assault was designed to be absolute, a multi-dimensional attack that would crush the Concordance's remaining defenses in a single devastating strike. Incoming wave configuration detected, Lieutenant Amir Khan announced. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces that seemed to breathe with living information. Void Collective is utilizing quantum-entangled weapon systems, targeting multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. Rodriguez knew this was more than a battle. It was a test of humanity's most radical approach to space combat. Prepare adaptive response matrix, she commanded. Full quantum disruption sequence. The bridge crew moved with a synchronicity that defied traditional military training. Where other species relied on rigid command structures, the human team operated like a single adaptive organism. Each member anticipated the next move, their actions a complex dance of technological innovation. The first wave of Void Collective energy weapons approach, a cascade of destructive potential that would have obliterated any conventional defense fleet. But the UES Defiance was anything but conventional. Holographic decoys erupted across multiple dimensional planes. Each projection was more than a simple image. It was a complex quantum signal that could absorb and redirect energy, creating a maze of false targets that confused the most advanced targeting systems. Gravitational slingshot sequence initiated, Commander Sarah Liu called out. The ship seemed to fold in on itself, manipulating space-time in ways that defied known physics. It wasn't movement in any traditional sense. It was a fundamental rewriting of spatial constraints. The Void Collective's primary assault formation found itself confronting an impossible scenario. Their quantum-entangled weapon systems locked onto targets that shifted, merged, and disappeared with impossible speed. What should have been a straightforward assault became a complex puzzle that their rigid computational systems couldn't solve. Rodriguez watched the tactical display with calculating precision. This wasn't about destruction. It was about disruption. Each maneuver was designed to expose the fundamental weaknesses in the Void Collective's approach to warfare. Quantum communication disruption at 89% effectiveness, Khan reported. The alien fleet's coordination began to fracture. Their complex, interconnected battle network started to collapse from within. The human approach was brutally elegant. Where the Concordance had fought using established tactics, humanity introduced an element of fundamental unpredictability. Their ships moved like living things, their strategies defying every established rule of space combat. One by one, the Void Collective's most advanced vessels found themselves isolated. Communication networks collapsed. Weapon systems became unreliable. The seemingly invincible assault fleet was being systematically dismantled, not through brute force, but through technological judo. Status report, Rodriguez commanded. Liu's response was clinical. Void Collective primary assault formation has lost 62% of its operational capacity. Remaining vessels are operating at significantly reduced effectiveness. It was more than a victory. It was a fundamental reimagining of space warfare. As the battle concluded, the remaining Concordance fleet watched in stunned silence. The humans hadn't just defended. They had completely rewritten the rules of engagement. Rodriguez allowed herself the briefest smile. The real message had been sent. Humanity had arrived, and they played by their own rules. Prepare post-battle analysis, she told her crew. We're just getting started. The United Earth Council chambers erupted in chaos. Holographic displays flickered with heated debates, representing political factions from every corner of the globe. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a political storm that threatened to tear humanity's newfound galactic momentum apart. Ambassador Dr. Marcus Chen leaned close, his voice a careful whisper. The isolation faction is gaining traction. They're using our recent engagement to argue for complete withdrawal from galactic affairs. Rodriguez understood the complexity of the moment. Their recent tactical success in the Orion conflict zone had split human political opinion into three distinct camps. The interventionists believed humanity had a responsibility to engage with galactic politics. The isolationists wanted to retreat and focus on internal development. A third, more radical group advocated for full-scale technological conquest. Senator Elena Petrova, leader of the Isolation faction, took the floor. Her holographic projection seemed to crackle with controlled anger. "We've exposed ourselves unnecessarily," she argued. "Our technological demonstrations, our military intervention, these are risks we cannot afford. We should be protecting our own interests, not playing galactic peacekeepers." Beside her, General Marcus Octavio represented the interventionist perspective. "Isolation is not an option," he countered. "The technologies we've developed, the strategic insights we've gained, these are too valuable to hide. We have a responsibility to reshape galactic dynamics." The third perspective came from Dr. Aisha Nakamura, a brilliant xenotechnological researcher. "This isn't about conquest or isolation," she interjected. "This is about understanding. Every technological exchange, every strategic interaction is an opportunity to learn." Rodriguez knew the real battle wasn't happening in the council chambers. It was happening in the hearts and minds of billions of humans watching the proceedings. The global communication networks were alive with debate, with citizens from every background weighing in on humanity's first major galactic engagement. Intelligence reports suggested deeper complications. Alien diplomatic services were actively trying to exploit these internal divisions. Quantum encrypted communications intercepted by human intelligence revealed attempts to influence key political figures, to drive wedges between human factions. "We're being tested," Rodriguez whispered to Chen. "Not just militarily, but politically." The situation grew more complex when a series of strategic data breaches began to emerge. Someone was leaking classified information about the UES Defiance's technological capabilities. The source remained unknown. Was it a foreign intelligence operation or an internal saboteur? Dr. Chen's quantum forensics team worked overtime, tracing digital breadcrumbs through increasingly complex encryption layers. The investigation revealed a shocking complexity. Multiple intelligence agencies, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial, were involved in a multi-layered information warfare campaign. Rodriguez saw an opportunity where others saw chaos. During a critical moment in the council debate, she requested to address the assembly. The chambers fell silent, holographic projections focusing on her steady presence. "We are not defined by our divisions," she began, her voice carrying a resonance that seemed to cut through political rhetoric. "Our strength has never been in uniformity, but in our ability to find unity through our differences. Every perspective in this room, the cautious, the bold, the curious, these are not weaknesses. They are the very essence of human potential." Her speech was carefully crafted, not a call to arms, but a reminder of humanity's core strength: adaptability, innovation, the ability to find common ground. The political landscape began to shift. Quantum sentiment analysis showed a dramatic change in public perception. The divisive rhetoric started to lose its edge. As the council session concluded, Rodriguez understood that the real battle was never about external threats. It was about maintaining human unity in the face of unprecedented challenges. "We're just getting started," she told Chen, a hint of a smile crossing her face. "And we're going to do this our way." The quantum simulation chamber hummed with potential. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic display that mapped the intricate political and strategic landscape of the galaxy. Surrounding her were the most brilliant minds humanity had to offer: strategists, diplomats, scientists, and philosophers who saw beyond conventional boundaries. Dr. Marcus Chen manipulated the holographic projections, each movement revealing layers of complexity that would have overwhelmed any other civilization. "The probability matrix is fascinating," he muttered. 0.03% chance of success by traditional metrics. Rodriguez's response was instantaneous. Humanity specializes in those odds. The plan they were developing was more than a military strategy. It was a comprehensive approach to reshaping galactic dynamics, a solution that addressed the root causes of the centuries-long conflict between the Concordance and the Void Collective. Their analysis revealed a fundamental truth. The conflict wasn't about territory or resources. It was about communication, understanding, and the inability to see beyond established paradigms. "We're not going to end a war," Dr. Aisha Nakamura explained to the team. "We're going to redefine the entire concept of conflict." The strategy had multiple layers. First, a technological approach that would demonstrate humanity's unique problem-solving capabilities. They had developed a series of adaptive communication technologies that could bridge seemingly insurmountable cultural and biological differences. Quantum translation matrices that didn't just convert words, but translated entire conceptual frameworks. Energy distribution systems that could revitalize dying planetary ecosystems. Medical nanotechnologies that could address fundamental biological challenges faced by multiple species. Lieutenant Amir Khan brought up a complex simulation. "Watch the cascading effect," he said. Each technological demonstration was carefully designed to show not just human capability, but a fundamentally different approach to problem solving. The Void Collective's communication networks would be subtly reconfigured, not through direct intervention, but through a series of strategic technological exchanges that would expose the limitations of their current systems. For the Concordance, a different approach was needed. They would be offered collaborative research opportunities that highlighted the benefits of diversity and adaptive thinking. "It's not about winning," Rodriguez explained. "It's about creating a new framework of understanding." Intelligence reports suggested the plan was audacious to the point of impossibility. Alien diplomatic services were struggling to understand humanity's approach. Was this a military strategy? A diplomatic overture? A technological demonstration? The answer was all of the above, and none of them. Dr. Chen pulled up a final simulation. The potential outcomes were mind-bending. In most scenarios, the existing conflict would continue. But in a tiny fraction of possibilities, less than 1%, something extraordinary could happen. A complete reshaping of galactic political dynamics. "We're offering them a choice," Rodriguez said, studying the holographic display. "Not surrender, not conquest, but a completely new way of existing." The plan involved a carefully orchestrated series of technological and diplomatic exchanges. Each interaction was designed to challenge existing paradigms. Quantum communication modules that could translate not just language, but entire cultural conceptual frameworks. Energy distribution technologies that could address fundamental resource challenges. More than a strategy, it was an invitation to reimagine possibility. As the final preparations were made, Rodriguez understood the true nature of their approach. This wasn't about defeating an enemy. It was about creating a framework where the very concept of enemy became obsolete. "Prepare final simulation run," she commanded. The quantum simulation chamber hummed with potential. Trillions of probability calculations danced across holographic displays. Humanity was about to rewrite the rules of galactic engagement. The Galactic Concordance Assembly Hall had never witnessed anything like this moment. Representatives from 12 different civilizations sat in a configuration that defied their traditional diplomatic protocols, where once rigid barriers and separate environmental zones had divided them. Now a unified communication matrix allowed unprecedented interaction. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood at the center of this historic gathering, not as a conqueror, but as a facilitator of possibility. The technological demonstrations that humanity had carefully prepared were beginning to show their true potential. Dr. Aisha Nakamura activated the first collaborative technology, a quantum communication matrix that did more than translate languages. It translated entire conceptual frameworks, bridging gaps that had existed for millennia. The Luminara delegation, beings of pure energy and complex mathematical patterns, were the first to experience the full depth of the technology. Their light-based communication suddenly found resonance with the methane-breathing Krell representatives. Concepts that had been impossible to share now flowed between them with crystal clarity. "It's not about understanding each other," Rodriguez explained. "It's about creating a shared language of potential." The communication matrix was just the beginning. Humanity had developed a series of adaptive technologies that addressed fundamental challenges faced by multiple civilizations, planetary restoration systems that could revive dying worlds, medical nanotechnologies that could bridge biological differences, energy distribution networks that could transform resource scarcity into abundance. The Void Collective's representatives watched with growing uncertainty. Their entire civilization was built on rigid predictive models and established technological trajectories. Humanity represented a complete anomaly, a civilization that didn't just push boundaries, but seemed unaware such boundaries existed. One by one, the technological demonstrations revealed their depth. A medical nanite system developed by human researchers could adapt to multiple biological structures, offering healing potential that transcended species limitations. Planetary restoration technologies could transform toxic environments into thriving ecosystems in months rather than centuries. Lieutenant Amir Khan presented a collaborative research initiative that would have been unthinkable mere months ago. Species that had been enemies for generations were now being invited to work together on solving fundamental challenges. The economic implications were staggering. The Krell Imperium's chief economist calculated that the proposed technological exchanges could generate value equivalent to centuries of traditional economic development. But the true transformation was happening on a deeper level. The rigid hierarchies that had defined galactic politics were starting to dissolve. Species were beginning to see each other not as potential threats, but as potential collaborators. Dr. Marcus Chen noticed something profound happening in the quantum sentiment analysis systems. The communication matrices were doing more than sharing information. They were creating empathy, a fundamental understanding that transcended biological and cultural differences. Rodriguez understood the deeper strategy. This wasn't about technological superiority. It was about reimagining the very concept of civilization. The Void Collective's primary representative, a being of such mathematical precision that emotion seemed impossible, made a statement that would echo through galactic history. Your approach challenges everything we understand about conflict and cooperation, the representative communicated. The translation matrix captured not just the words, but the subtle nuances of uncertainty and potential. As the assembly concluded, the galactic political landscape had fundamentally shifted. Humanity had not conquered. They had invited everyone to reimagine possibility. We're just getting started, Rodriguez told her team, watching the holographic displays showing unprecedented levels of interspecies collaboration. The galaxy would never be the same. The UES Defiance returned to Earth not as a conquering vessel, but as a beacon of hope and innovation. Its hull bore the subtle marks of its journey, quantum adaptive patches that told a story of survival, adaptation, and unprecedented potential. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the New Geneva spaceport, watching as the ship was carefully docked. Around her, a new generation of explorers, diplomats, and scientists prepared for humanity's next great adventure. Dr. Marcus Chen approached, his quantum tablet displaying a complex array of incoming galactic communications. The ripple effects are still spreading, he said, a note of wonder in his voice. The collaborative research initiatives we proposed are already yielding unexpected results. The technological exchanges had transformed more than just political dynamics. Scientific breakthroughs were happening at an unprecedented rate. The Luminera Collective had combined their quantum mathematical insights with human adaptive engineering. The Krell Imperium was working on planetary restoration technologies that could revive entire ecosystems. Lieutenant Amir Khan reviewed the latest strategic assessments. The quantum communication matrices were revealing layers of galactic history that had been hidden for millennia. Ancient conflicts were being recontextualized. Species that had been enemies were now finding common ground. But humanity understood that this was just the beginning. Dr. Aisha Nakamura's research team had detected something troubling at the edges of explored space. Quantum sensor networks were picking up anomalous readings, hints of something beyond the current understanding of galactic dynamics. We've solved one conflict, she explained to Rodriguez. But the universe is vast, and we've only just begun to understand its complexity. The UES Defiance would soon be refitted for a new mission, not a mission of conflict, but of exploration and understanding. The ship that had transformed galactic politics would now push the boundaries of human knowledge. Rodriguez gathered her core team for a final briefing. The holographic display showed multiple potential exploration routes. Unknown regions of space beckoned, areas that had been considered too dangerous or incomprehensible by previous galactic civilizations. Our greatest strength has never been our technology, Rodriguez told her team. It's our ability to see potential where others see boundaries. The global response to their recent diplomatic breakthrough had been transformative. Educational systems were being redesigned. A new generation of explorers, diplomats, and scientists was emerging. Individuals trained to think beyond established paradigms. The quantum sentiment analysis systems showed a profound shift. Humanity was no longer afraid of the unknown. They were excited by it. Preliminary reports from collaborative research initiatives were mind-bending. The medical nanotechnologies developed through interspecies cooperation could potentially address genetic challenges that had limited multiple civilizations for generations. Energy distribution systems were being redesigned to address fundamental resource challenges. Dr. Chen pulled up a final projection. "Look at this," he said, showing a complex holographic model of potential future developments. The model was less a prediction and more an invitation, a visualization of possibilities that defied traditional understanding. Each potential pathway represented not just technological development, but a fundamental reimagining of what civilization could be. As the UES Defiance underwent its final system checks, Rodriguez understood the true nature of their journey. This wasn't about conquest or even exploration in the traditional sense. It was about potential. The ship's quantum drives hummed with anticipation. Unknown regions of space waited. Challenges that would push the boundaries of human understanding beckoned. Humanity was ready. They were just getting started.